So, this is me starting the recorder and sharing my screen. Uh, Confirm if you can see my screen, please.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, great. So, uh, yesterday we were dealing with dictionaries. We exhausted the concepts of dictionaries, which was quite good. Of course, we didn't exhaust everything. There's something called dictionary comprehension, just like we have list comprehension. Those are advanced things that you can do, not advanced, intermediate things that you can do. Okay. So we can only do that maybe after we have learned some of these basics and we've gone somehow far. We are going to go today and touch some aspect of error handling. Okay, somebody say I should zoom a bit. Let me see. See. Okay, is that better? Or maybe I should change the theme. Probably. Oh, contrast, dark side contrast, dark Visual Studio. Is this better? I think so. So, we did dictionaries, like I said. Today we are going to be diving in and seeing some aspect of error handling, see how to handle errors in our application. I was showing you people some errors yesterday, and we're going to continue on that. Okay, let's take for example that we had. I'm going to call this error handling. Sorry, I'm not using notes. We're going to talk and do. Okay. So, assuming that I had a dictionary of some items, and I had name equals something, Andrew, and something. Let's say we had a dictionary like that. And then I wanted to print a dictionary at index of H that does not exist. Now, we tried this before and we got some error. Let's say PHP error. Oh God, what is up with me and PHP? Python error handling .py, and we get something like this. This is an exception. It stops the execution of our code, and nothing else will be executed if there was anything under. Now, in Python, there is a way to handle this kind of things so that we don't run into some unexpected events and some code gets stuck or our server crashes. Okay, so the reason for error handling is to um, look for a better way to manage these kinds of errors that occur in our application. Of course, we already had something like if uh, something like age, think something like that. If age in dictionary, then we should try to print something. I think. Sorry, I'm using these brackets. Must not be there. If age in dictionary, we can go ahead and try now to print dictionary at index of the age. That's another way to handle this. Okay, this is you using an if statement to make sure that, okay, before you're trying to access the dictionary at the index of age by the key of age, you know that the key called age actually exists within your application. And that we are still going to, okay, this one is the one that is causing the error. You see, nothing gets executed because we already tried handling that here. In Python, of course, you can handle the errors like this using if statement to check if something is something. Let's say you wanted to divide something by 0, for example. Let's say um, let's say print uh, 5 divided by 0. Now, anything divided by zero, if you punch it on the calculator, what do you expect? Some sort of an error or something. So if we were to do that, let me see, print, let me see, sum or quotient is equal to, oh God, 5 divided by 0. I don't know why this is not why this is not raising an error, but let me just try it again. This is supposed to raise a division by 0 error. That's what I have been trying to do. No. Okay. We have a division by 0 error. This is another error that you might encounter when trying to do some calculations in your code. The goal, what we want to do today, is to see how to handle all of these kind of errors. Of course, you could first of all check if this second number is 0 before doing it, but there are better ways to do that in Python. To handle exceptions or to handle errors, Python offers I think the try, except, I guess, yeah, try, except, which are ways to actually handle errors. Now, you have things like try, you have things like except, you have things like finally, and you have things like else. These are the keywords that you'll be using in most cases to handle errors, to catch exceptions. Now, you have to first of all know the difference between maybe syntax error and exception. Syntax error is when you've written something that Python does not understand. Exception is Syntax error is just one kind of an exception. Uh, there are other types of exceptions, like maybe dividing something by zero, or trying to access a key in a dictionary that does not exist, and a lot of other exceptions. Like I'm saying, syntax error and exceptions are different. Syntax error is a type of exception in Python. Okay, so if you want to handle an exception, you can use, let's start with this first two, try, except. Now, if we were to divide this kind of number, and we know that okay, this kind of error might occur, we put it inside a try block. Okay, we try to execute this code, and then we try now to catch some sort of an error, say except, and then the except will literally now take the kind of error we want to catch. Let me remove this one under. Now, we saw here that there is a type of exception called what? Division or zero division error. So this is the thing you want to catch here. So you are going to say that, okay, try this except zero division error, I think. This is supposed to be except zero division error, where you are going to now go ahead and print something. Division by zero is not allowed. Now, in this case, you can run your code. Let me try it out. You can run your code. It doesn't throw this error again. It doesn't crash your code. It literally just handles that kind of error like this. So for example, let us go ahead now and try to do this one that we had here. So that means I'm going to uncomment it so that you see the error that occurs, then we handle the error. So Python, we see a key error. So what we do here is that we have to try, except we get a key error. So that means here we can say that try print my dictionary at index of age. So always take note of the indentation, except key error. This is a kind of exception. And then you say, okay, print. uh, the key h does not exist. This is no longer going to throw this kind of fatal error here. It's just going to handle it normally and go to the next uh, line of code in our program. So you use try except to handle exceptions in Python. So if I were to run this, you see the key h does not exist. Division by 0 is not allowed. So this is how you are going to handle exceptions. Like this is the most basic approach. Try, you do whatever I wanted to do, then you catch errors. Of course, we could go ahead and put all of this inside all of this. Let's say this, like this, and then here, what we can do, we have caught key error. There's another type of error that we may encounter. So you can go ahead again and say that word, except zero division error and print division by 0 is not allowed. So you can do several excepts in your Python script. And if I were to run this, so it catches the first one, the key does not exist. Let's say I am printing name now, the name exists. Let me run the code again. It catches the next one, division by 0 is not allowed. So you can have several except based on whatever computation you are doing. There are a bunch of exceptions that exist in Python. Let me see if I can see some of them. There's a key error, there is a zero division error, there is a syntax error. Okay, let me take example. Make a problem with this indentation, and then I'm going to try again and catch what? Except syntax error, which is on line 5. You notice this indentation is wrong. And then I don't want my code to stop. So I'll literally just handle the syntax error and say, okay, um, print syntax error. Okay. So something like this. And if I were to execute this, you see indentation expected indent. Let me see line 5. Uh, okay, this one did not catch syntax error. Sorry. Okay, it's an indentation error. Sorry. So this is the kind of error I'm going to catch here, indentation error. And if I were to run this, let me see. So yeah, you could catch several exceptions. It just turns out indentation error has refused to be caught. But like I said, you can have as many errors in your code as possible and you'd handle them without having to make your code to crash. That is the goal of exception handling. You don't want your server to stop working. You want to peacefully handle some kind of errors in your code. Okay. So that is how you are going to handle errors. So you have the try, you have the except, and there are two additional ones that I'm going to talk about. But before talking about that, the various types of errors that exist, we have the syntax error, we have the key error. This one is when there is no key found in a particular dictionary or say a particular list. And then we have attribute error, I guess. Attribute error. We also have something like, which one again? Input output error, call it IO error. We have zero division error, which we just saw. And many other types of errors that we can handle. Of course, something like module not found. You'll see this when you start working with Python packages. And which other one? Let me see. value error. There are really a lot of them. The list is non-exhaustive at the moment. Is it exhaustive or non-exhaustive? My English is broken. Okay, yes, these are the various types of exceptions you can catch. If you want to see all of them, you go to W3 Schools or Python documentation and you'll be able to see all of those errors. Okay, you use a try and then except. Now, that means that at first it is going to try to execute this code if there is no error. So if everything here was okay, say 5 divided by 2, then none of these errors will be caught because we don't have any key error, we don't have any zero division error, and we don't have any indentation error. So the code, this code block is going to run smoothly. But now if we had an error, okay, we had an exception, then let's say the key error is going to be raised, or the zero division error is going to be raised, or the indentation error is going to be raised. And once it is raised, instead of crashing our program, we are going to handle it our own way and continue the execution of our code. That is the goal of exception handling. You also have advanced things like, let me see, finally, I guess there's something called finally. That means this one is going to try and then comes to the exception. If he could not catch any exception, finally is always going to get executed. Something like finally, go ahead and print something, execution, finish. So the finally block is always going to get executed. Okay. So the try might be executed if there were no errors. The errors will be executed if the try did not work. And then finally, this one is going to be executed. So in this code, we will have probably two blocks of code. Maybe the key error that, or the zero division error according to this is going to be executed. And then finally, it's going to say execution finished. So if I were to do that, let me check. Uh, get it? So you have it got zero division error and then finally it printed the execution finished. So this block, like I'm saying, is always going to get executed in our code. Okay. The only one that is conditional is this try except. It's going to try to execute a block of code except some error occurs, which is going to handle the error. And finally, it is going to do something at the end. That is how exception handling is done in Python. Of course, there is another one called else. You can take a look at it and see how it is used. I just wanted to show you people this because you might want to be handling a bunch of exceptions in your code. For example, if we had, let me do another one. Let's say we had a list again or a dictionary of sales and the value was let's say Bamenda again is equal to, instead of having 100, 1000, we're having 100, then some stuffs here, uh 1000 as a string or whatever, and then some other stuff. Now, according to our sales, we were calling the sum, I think. We were calling the sum on the list that was inside. I think so. Where did we do that? We're calling the sum. Now, if we try to call the sum here in this uh in this sales here, we are summing an integer and a string. What do you think we are going to get? I believe we are going to get an error. Let us try that. Let's say before line 6, I'm going to try to execute that. So sum of sales is equal to, I'm going to say, okay, sales, or just call the sum value in sales dot values. We already saw this before. And we're going to try to print it, sum of sales, And then, sorry, why am I using printf? And then we try to execute this code. You get what? We have an error, type error, unsupported operands type plus int and list. Now, this is considered probably as a list of items. It's a string, but it tries to convert it into a list. So if we were to catch this kind of error, what are we going to do? We are going to say except type error and then print out something. Uh, Cannot sum integer and list string. Okay, and if we try executing this right now, you see it catches the error and the execution continues. So yeah, this is how you use exception handling in Python. I've just shown you a case where if we had sales data and these values in here were not exactly integers, let's say they were integers and string mixed and so on, we could handle it differently. But yeah, it's just this is just an overview of how you could handle that case. That is how exception handling is done in Python. Any question about that? Fully.
Lisa,
Yes.
I wanted to ask, with
Mhm.
this error handling, you always have to specify the kind of error that you want to handle.
Yes, you have to specify if you know the kinds of error that may occur. Okay, let's say you do not have any other error in your head again, you could use the else. So if none of this error was the case, then the else will get executed and it is going to try to handle all the other errors, but not explicitly. So yeah, if you want to handle errors, you must know the errors that you are handling. Okay, print uh, unexpected error occurred. Okay, so if let's say if we were not handling this type error, for example, comment it, if we're not handling it and we put this else here, this is literally going to catch all the other types of errors that we have not specified and then just print unexpected error occurred. So if we do this, oh god, type error, let me see the else. Give me a few seconds. Okay, so let me go to W3 schools and check that. Okay, this else, let me see, finally, supported error. Okay. So yeah, one thing is before you even call the else, sorry, I'll come back to this. Before you even call the else, you probably must have exhausted all your error lists that you ever think that will occur. Let's say if you are working on numerical data, the first thing you want to check is if you are doing division anywhere, you should try to handle division by zero error. If you are doing addition anywhere, you should try to make sure that the types that you are adding is okay, they are the same. If you are trying to access the item of an array or the item of a list, you have to know that okay, there might be a case where a particular key is not found. So yeah, you might want to know most of this error list. Okay, the error list you can go to. Let me see if I can send you people the link of this. Uh, error list except I'm just going to send this documentation, not Python documentation though, but the one on W3 schools. You can read it and see how to handle exceptions generally. Okay. Yes, I have a problem with this else. I'm going to remove it for now. So, who asked that question? Please. Uh, who was that? Hello. Hello. Is are you people hearing me?
Yes, so I hearing.
Yeah, so I was checking who asked that question. I wanted to categorize, but it's okay if the person doesn't want to talk. Yes, so that is it about error handling. Please permit me, there were a lot of things that I did not do yet. But yeah, these are the basics, okay? These are the basics. Try to read it again and see how far you can go. That's error handling. Let us talk a little bit about functions in Python and see how to use functions, okay? Um, in most cases, we write some block of code and after some time, we need that block of code again. Sometimes you might have to rewrite the block of code. But programming is on the concept of dry. I don't know who has heard of the dry concept in programming. Who has heard of that term before? Dry, or we are all new to it. Okay, let's assume that we are all new to it. The dry concept in programming generally says that do not repeat yourself. That's a full meaning of dry. Do not repeat yourself. So in functions, we just group a bunch of code into one entity and then we can reuse it as many times as possible. And the nice thing about it is that we can call it whenever we want. And if we don't call it, it's going to remain dormant. That means it will never get executed if we don't call it. Now, I don't know if anyone has done some programming before, something like C, there is a way to define a function. In Python, there is another way. In JavaScript, there is another way, and so on. But let's just try to see the basic syntax, for example. So I'm going to say function.py. And to define a function, you use the def keyword. Use this def, okay, and then the function name, and then brackets, and then colon, then the body of the function goes here. Now, this means that if you want to call this function, you just need to say function name like that. This is how you call the function. Did I spell it well? Copy, paste, expected indent block or whatever. Yeah. So you define a function like this and you call it like this down here. Okay. So when you define this function, you give it body, like you write some code inside this body. Then at the end now you can call the function. Ignore what is here at the moment. So for example, if we were to define a function that greets somebody, I'm going to say def greet, right? And then colon and print uh, hi there. Now, if I just run this code like this, Python function.py, like we literally see nothing executed because we have defined the function, but we have not called it. Okay, so that's what I meant by a function is going to remain dormant until you call it. So if I wanted to call it, I'll just say greet like that. And now I have called this function. And let's say if I were to do it again, you now see hi there. Okay. So a function is just a block of code that you group into some entity and then you can call it anytime. So you can call the function several times and it is going to execute the number of times that you've called it. That is the use of functions. Now, let's take for example that we wanted to greet somebody by getting the person's name. How do you get somebody's or how do you get a name with from an input in Python? How do you get the name? Please somebody tell me that. Let's say I wanted to ask the person for the name and then get the name and greet the person by name. How do we do it, please? Going to
Use the
call.
input function.
Okay, so input and then I say enter name or what's your name like that. Now
You assign it.
I should assign it to something.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. I wanted to use the name here. So I can say hi there or let's say hi then the name. How do I pass the name in here? Hello.
You could use there is this thing before the code, and then you pass the name of the variable in curly brace.
Okay, how do I do it again? I do what?
F before the code,
Okay, F and then I
and then I
pass it in curly braces
the
like
name of
that.
the variable in curly brace.
Like that.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir.
So let's get it. What's your name? I call it who was talking?
Doctors.
Okay, so we have hi Dorcas. The other person's name, Janice. Hi Janice. So it is executing the number of times I called it. So this is the second time. It's going to keep doing this like some 10 times. So based on whatever input it gets, it does a different thing. Okay. So that is how a function is defined. That is how it is called. I don't know if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Josiane, are you there?
So I'm here. Please, I
Okay.
wanted to ask a question.
Yeah.
What if the F comes after? Is this still going to be the same thing?
After, like, if I remove the F here and put it here,
Yes, sir.
nah, this is not going to work. Okay. This is now a
Okay.
syntax error. So the F always has to be at the beginning. Okay. F, then I open this quote, double quote, and then whatever I wanted to type in here. For example, let me change this a little bit. I say hi there, your name is, and then I pass the name here. And I could also get the age. Let's say age is equal to, let's cast the age into an integer. Input what's your age. So I could say hi there, your name is name and your age is age, right? So this F has to be like that. Okay, this is, they call it formatted strings, I guess, in Python. So if I were to do this, what's your name, Andrew? What's your age? 12. And then you get hi there, your name is Andrew and your age is 12. Okay. Another way to do this, what is the other way? What's the other way to do it besides formatted string?
You could call the name of the variable out
Okay,
and
so
omit the F.
I could say print uh hi there, your name is and then I pass in the name here, like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what
Yes.
if I wanted to put the name and the age? I
Name,
don't
I think you can calculate it with the plus sign.
know.
I don't know if it works.
Oh, me too. I don't know. So we could literally come here and say message is probably equal to hi there. Your name is, I think, is it plus? Is
Mm-hmm.
that was name and let me see and
No,
your
his name. Okay,
yes
yes.
and your age is plus age, I guess, like that, right? And then we just
Right.
print and then we just print the message in here. That work, right? I think so. So if I were to run this, what's your name, Andrew? What's your age? 12. And that did not work.
I think I don't know if those um, that plus
Uh-huh.
is um it's not supposed to be before the name of the people.
Okay, where is it supposed to be? Like this? It's if we put it like
Yes.
that, it's also a problem. Okay, Josiah, I'll
There's
come.
supposed to be a code.
That it's supposed to
After the quote, there's supposed to be a comma.
after the quote, okay, comma, and then really?
He always does things like this lesson.
Okay, now let me do it again and see. Andrew 12 and okay. So it literally converted that stuff into some sort of a tuple or something. Hmm. Okay, I'll come back to this later. But for now, Josiane, so literally what we were trying to do is, okay, we have defined a function that is going to get somebody's name and print it out. Let's forget about this one for now and use the formatted string approach, okay? Um, we use the F, right? This F says this is going to be a formatted string, and then we go ahead and write our message and pass in the variables as inside curly brackets. Once we pass in something like this inside curly bracket, the F keyword here is going to make Python to understand that whatever you find in a curly bracket, know that it's a variable that was somewhere. So once Python is reading through it, it is going to go and look for any variable that was called name and assign it here, any variable that was called age and assign it here. So if at some point I gave a variable name here that did not exist, we are expecting, I think, an error. I think so. Andrew something. You see, name error. That means that if you were using error handling, what will you do? You also need to catch this kind of error in this code. Josiane, do you follow now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So yeah, that is it. Single line without using formatted string pattern. Okay, so yeah, that is what we are saying about functions. This is the simplest type of function we can have. Of course, you could define a function that does what? That takes in maybe parameters, or yeah, is it parameters or argument? When is it called a parameter and when is it called an argument? I always get confused between this, but I'll try to explain it. So this is how we define the most basic function. Let us say we wanted to define a function that is going to take in some value and print it without actually having to ask the user to input it directly here. Okay, so we are going to say, okay, this one is going to be called def greet, and then I'm going to pass in the name of the person I wanted to greet, so name like that. And then I'm just going to come here and just say print hi there, uh, and then I say, I don't know, hi there, was name or something, assume true. So this is literally just going to, if I call this function now and pass Andrew inside, it is going to go to the function that is taking in a parameter and then try to print hi there and whatever was passed into this function. So I think this is a parameter and this is an argument. Am I missing it? The person who did computer science, which one is an argument and which one is a parameter?
I think you got it right.
Okay, so this one is a parameter, the variable that you are passing in, like the placeholder, you call it a parameter, and the value that you'll be passing when you are calling the function is called an argument. If I am wrong, we can always check it out later. So if I were to run this code, greeting missing, okay, sorry, it is trying to, I'll call this greet person. Those are two different functions. So I'm going to call this greet and greet person. So if I were to run this, you see it says hi there, Andrew. Then it tries to call this second function. I'm going to remove that because I don't need it at the moment. So that is the second thing about functions. We have a simple function that just prints out something. And then we have another type of function, another type that takes in a param or a parameter. Okay. And all of these are literally just printing out values. I'm trying to treat the functions gradually. So we have a simple function that doesn't take anything but print out something. We have another function that takes in something and prints out something. We also have another function that takes in something and returns the thing. Okay, let's say we wanted to define a function called sum or add that is going to take two numbers, num1 and num2, and instead of printing out num1 plus num2, it returns num1 plus num2. What is the difference between this and this? The difference is that when you call greet person, it's just going to print out something to the screen for you. But if you call this, it's literally not going to print out anything, but it's going to return something that you can use. Okay, so this is an example of a function that returns a value that can be reused. How do you call this kind of functions? For example, so I can say that result is equal to add, and then I pass in the two parameters or the two arguments for that function. Because my add function says that it is expecting two things, num1 and num2. You can call it number one and number two. All these things I'm passing inside are just my variables I'm creating. So whatever you pass it, you can call it A, you can call it B, and then you can return what? A plus B. And then when I call this function or hover over it, you see the definition as it takes in two things, A and B. So that's why I had to pass 5 and 6 here. So I have gotten this as a result. I can go ahead and print the result. Now, trying to execute it, you see it prints out 11. But now, if I just call this function like that, if I just called it add 5 plus 7, like nothing happens. It has added it, but since the function literally returns something and not prints the thing, it has added it and nothing has happened. Okay. So these are like three types of functions that you have seen me define. A function that just prints in something, prints out something without taking in anything. Another function that takes in something and prints out the thing. Another function that takes in something and returns some things. Okay, so those are the types of functions that may exist. And generally in programming, we have two types of functions. We have inbuilt functions, the functions that come in the programming language itself, and we have user defined functions, the functions that we define. All of these that we are doing here are user defined functions. Okay, so inbuilt function is an example of this one that we had here. We had uh, person dot items. This items is a function that returns some things for the person dictionary. Another very pertinent one that we saw was the sum that literally just adds up everything in a list. Okay. So that is, we are trying to mimic that kind of thing here, add. So literally, we can define our own sum. I'm going to call it def sum 2. And this one is going to take in a list. Now, what this one is going to do is that it's going to look through each of the items in the list and then returns the sum. So to do that, we could literally just call sum of list or whatever, but I want us to define it manually. How do we do it? I don't know. Uh, how do we go through a list and sum the items in the list?
Okay, yes, hello.
That
I think we could use the
okay? Try it
declare a
out.
variable against this. Yeah, adding each of them to it.
Okay, so how do we do it? I want to hear you talk and I type. Haha.
Shock.
Really? Is it shock? Somebody must say it too. I'm listening.
Uh, let's say from a okay, let's declare a variable sum. If we're going to do something,
Okay, Albright
and then
says for item. Let's try Albright. Then sorry, let's try Albright for item in the list is called list items, right? Items. Yes. Albright. What next? I know that we have to look for item in items for norm in norms. How do we get the sum? How do we do the sum? People have to say it though. Should I call? Barry, are you there? Becky.
uh,
Okay. Dorcas, what do you have to say? Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it.
Like,
How sad is this situation? Let me just round up, please. My network is really not good. So, for the short time, who has figured it out? Okay, so sorry. Let's just round up. My network is already giving me a hard time. So for the short time, who has figured it out? What should we do?
sir,
Yeah,
right now using the lookup, you not just call the sum function and pass the name of the list to it.
no, I don't want us to use the sum function.
Okay, do it manually.
Yes. Is Marilyn here? Nah, it seems she's not available today. Uh, Janice, is everything okay? Tell us now. Janice, ha, are we sleeping? Some people might be sleeping and we don't know. Josiane?
So this is me.
Okay. I knew you will not be sleeping. You have not figured it out.
So
Yeah.
Total plus equal to
Total
what
plus equal
item?
to sum. Okay, let me give
No,
you
sir.
people a hint. Let's create a
Total
temporal
plus
variable. Let's create a temporal variable here called total and set it to 0. So what should I do inside this loop?
so you can as well put index equal to 0.
Index equal to 0.
Mm.
Please, what if we say total plus is equal to item,
Item.
and then at the end we return uh come on, and then at the end we return total, like that. Won't this work? So
It
this is
will.
similar to total is equal to total plus item. Okay. So we create,
Or
yes,
so we could still put total equal to 0.
here.
Index equal to 0.
Uh-huh.
And we don't look through.
Ah, and we don't look
Rather,
through.
yes, sir.
Uh-huh.
So still put total equal to 0. While index,
Okay, let me remove this my semicolon. I'm fond of it. While index is supposed to be in while
greater
index
than.
is greater than
No, sorry, less than.
less than
Len in bracket items.
list item.
Then then colon. Yes, then you put total plus equal to
Mhm.
items,
But
then index.
where's item coming from? Okay, item list item at index list
Yes,
item
sir.
index like that.
Yes, sir. Then you take index plus equal to 1.
Index plus equal to 1. Sorry, plus
Yes, sir.
equal to. Okay,
If
so
we print it, it
let me
should.
try. Don't worry, it's not like it's wrong. Oh. I'm just like, how did she think about this? I want to I want to extract yours somewhere else and extract mine somewhere else. Okay. Yeah. So let me remove this one. Should we instead print it or return it?
Let's print it.
Okay. Print print total. Okay. So let's print it here too. Print total. Okay. So that is what we have, right? Let us try to call the functions. Comment this out and define a list. My list is equal to square brackets 1, 2, 5, and so on, 56. I'm going to call sum2 of my list and sum3 of my list. right? Let's just run that and see. And we have 63, 63. Josiah,
So
Josiah, how do you feel that your code ran? Okay, so
I feel
yeah, this is a similarity. Okay, this is a duplicate of the sum function that we've always been seeing. Okay, this is us trying to implement it. Now you could go inside here and do some additional complexity by handling all types of errors, uh, value error where you encounter a string that was supposed to be an integer and all of that. And that's how people literally export functions like this to the Python library. Okay, so this is how you define functions. In most cases, when you do this, anywhere that you wanted to do something, you can just call the function instead of redefining a line of code or two lines of code and so on. Is that okay? Are we okay?
yes, sir.
Okay. So yeah, I think I'm going to end here for today. We've exhausted some small error handling. I've done functions. I mean, from now I can hand you over to Mr. Juventus to start peeling your heads. But no, we'll go a little bit further from here, okay? We are good, right?
Yes, sir.
Or you people,
Yes, sir.
uh, what do you people suggest? Give me any suggestion you think. I'll start from Patience. Hello, Miss Patience. Are you there? Don't write me a message, oh. Send me a voice. Miss Patience, you are there. Are you lost?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Very low.
Okay. Okay, fine. Seems your network is actually breaking. Which section of Cameroon are you? Are you in the far north?
No.
Where you at?
That's okay. I was just asking you. To
Yo, sorry, I can't hear you that much, but hopefully you were hearing me right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Um, I don't know. Becky, are you there?
Yes, I'm right here.
You have been quiet though. I was wondering, is everything fine? Are you following?
Yes, everything is okay.
Okay. Miss Dorcas,
Yes, sir.
is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Miss Josiane,
So
are we cool? Are we okay? Is everything straight?
yes, sir.
Okay. Janice, you have been leaving and entering and leaving and entering. Seems your network is as broken as mine.
Yes, sir.
Uh-oh. Sorry about that. Are you the far
Thank
north?
you. I know I'm in Douala.
Ah, network is that bad in Douala. Are we safe?
Yeah, it's raining. I don't know what's happening.
Oh, sorry about that. But were you able to pick anything so far? Have you been able to pick anything for the entire class?
Yes.
Okay, good. And Miss Albright,
Yes, sir.
what do you have to say?
I have to say that we should do more examples on
On dictionary,
functions. Sorry.
Yeah, certainly. We will probably tomorrow. We are just going to do but examples from list through tuples to sets to dictionaries to functions. We'll have to spend about an hour or two tomorrow and after tomorrow to do details examples of that before we start diverting a little bit. Is that okay?
So that would be really nice.
Yeah. And if you think of any example that we can do, you suggest as well tomorrow. Okay. I don't want us to be doing some funny examples.
Okay, sir.
hmm Um, let me see. Yes, we are going to end there for today. Let me give you people an assignment. This is what I want you to do. I want you to create a Python program that asks an administrator or a data entry staff at the hospital the number of patients he or she wants to uh, collect data from based and based on this number define a the dictionary to store the data, then loop based on the number of times collect the data and store in a dictionary. Now, in this case, the data we are expecting is the age. Let's start with the name, the age, and what again? Mm, name the
Location.
age, the location, yeah, demographic. What again? Mm, I think let's end with this, right? Now, the data is going to be stored in this format: a dictionary, key, name of person, then value is going to be now the age and the location of the person. So that is how you are going to store for each of the person that we get, for each of the person you get from the user, you store it in this format. Okay. Enter the name, person enters the name, the age and the location. The name of the person is going to be the key, and then the age and the location is going to be another dictionary inside there. I don't know if that makes sense to you people. Uh, this will mean that
So please, can you zoom in a little bit, or is it zoom out? The question is not.
yeah, I will I will forward it somewhere. AG. So at the end, you're going to display that data in a tabular format. Just use a normal print statement. So for example, Andrew, uh, the name is Andrew, the age is 12, the location is Bamenda, and continues. Jenny's Jenny's your age is 11. I'm older than you. Voila, and so on and so forth. Then finally, um, display the sum of all the ages, display the person with the highest age, and what else? Um, yeah, let's end here for now. I could tell you to group the people by location, but it's fine. Okay, so let's end here for now. I'm going to copy this. Should I create a task on FlexString for this? Did somebody put their hand up? Yeah, Becky.
Yes, sir. I just wish to say that I've not been doing assignments and I might not do this one because my computer suddenly got bad and I still do the repair.
Uh-oh. So how have you been coping then?
Lately, I've just been following the lessons. I've not been able to do it practically.
Okay, hopefully you're going to fix it soon. Or what's the state?
Just got news that is the previous person that worked on it actually spoiled some things internally, so it would rather be on repairs. So I'm looking forward to getting a new one.
Oh. Okay, sorry about that. Anyway, there are ways to learn Python in your phone, but that is not really the best. You could install a text editor in your phone and so on. It's not the best, but that's something you can do.
Okay,
Yeah, try that. I think there are a bunch of apps that you can do to code Python. Okay.
all right, sir.
Yeah, I even saw that somebody has been submitting code from the phone. I don't know who that person is, but courage, oh, courage. Okay, so I'm going to create this task on FlexTrain so that you are able to access it fully. I'm also going to see if I can send it. Should I send it? No, I don't want to send it. Oh my God. Yeah, that is it. Let me see. I was uploading this content today. Uh, published. Okay. Task. Yeah, that is it. I think I'm done. If you have any question, feel free to ask. If not, I think we are done. Let me just create a task right now. I'm not going to overdo description. If people are going to, I'm just going to copy this and paste there. Hopefully, you understand what it means. Create task. Any question, any worry? If not, ladies and gentlemen, we call it a night. Okay. Was that supposed to be? Uh, good night, patience.
So,
Yeah.
please, I want my terminal to look like yours.
Wait, please, who is talking?
It's just, yeah.
Josiane, do you know what I'm using?
So, please, what are you using?
I'm using Kali Linux. Have you heard of that before? Linux.
So, they're using what?
I'm using Linux.
Ah,
You've not heard of Linux?
no, sir.
Ah, okay. I'm not using Windows. Okay. So, if you want your terminal to look like mine, you may have to install Linux or
Oh, oh, okay, 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 okay.
yeah. So that's what
I
I'm using.
understand.
Yeah, you can also
Mm,
install Git Bash. Git Bash is going to provide you a terminal that is similar to this one on Windows. Okay.
okay.
So I think that one. Why do you like my terminal? What's in my terminal that you like?
So it's just nice.
Yeah.
See the
See what,
presentation.
see what you are saying that is nice. I mean, you're supposed to say that some other things are nice, not this one now.
So other things I want to.
I don't know.
So do you want me to say this assignment that you're giving me is nice? I'm like, it's not nice.
That one,
Do you want me to say this assignment that you're giving me is nice?
I tell you, it's very beautiful and nice. You don't know.
I'm not even here.
And even here, you'll be here. You don't have choice. You must be here. Sorry, I'm not going to format this assignment. I'm just giving it like that. And the deadline is Sunday. It was even supposed to be tomorrow. So this one that I'm giving here is just, GS beginners. I'm going to assign it to everybody. I'm going to give a score of 5 and then everybody in here. I have a bunch of people here, but where are they? I'm not seeing them.
So what about the other assignment?
They have not been graded yet. Don't worry. We'll do that. The goal is for some people to learn right now. We'll literally just have some small practical sessions and do corrections to all of those things so that you get the stuff behind it. Yeah. So I have created that one. You should have gotten a Slack notification now about it. And I don't know if I set up email notification or whatever. Yeah, that is it. So people have refused to go.
Let me go.
Ah, you want to go now? Okay, now. Who am I? Can I fit to open up? I cannot say anything.
So bye.
Okay, so I just sent that link. You can open it to view the task, or I could literally just cut this. Can I create a file directly from here? No, I cannot create a file. Why? I don't know. Uh, yeah, if that was a hand show, please feel free to talk because I'm not currently opening that. Yes, go ahead. Oh, that was a message. Please let me come. I want to also send this on WhatsApp so that for those who don't like opening the FlexStream platform, you can go ahead and do that. Uh, pardon my English if it's broken, eh? Uh, okay, Becky, good night. Ladies, good night, though.
Ah,
Hi,
good
guys.
night.
Yes, I've created a task. Let's meet again tomorrow.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Good night.
Yeah, have
Okay,
a great
sir.
night.
Good night, sir.
Good night. Good night.